we've got everybody here now. My name's Peter, so I'll be doing the introduction. Tara, who is just probably rounding you up, she'll be doing the session in the pyramid today. Now what we like to do is we like to give you a good introduction into what's going to be happening to you today. All right? So just be prepared, because we've got some interesting things that are going to occur. It's all about energy. Everything we do today is all about energy and the creation of energy, and what pyramids are all about. Quite a gamut of stuff that we're going to be throwing your way today. Now, you've heard this before, haven't you? Yeah, so just bear with us for some of it. Okay. We love to see people come back more than once, twice, three times, whatever. It's really nice. So, pyramids, what are they all about? Well, one thing that most people aren't aware of is that they never ever found a tomb in an ancient pyramid. All right? Now, that goes against what the Egyptians are trying to tell us even to this day, and of course what our history books told us. The story was created many hundreds of years, or 100 odd years ago, about a tomb found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Well, there's never been any evidence to support that. In fact, the evidence supports the fact that they were all buried up in the Valley of the Kings. And the same goes right around the world. The only place they've ever found tombs in pyramids yet was in a place called Sudan. And they're not old pyramids, they're only about 2,000 years old, right? And they're actually a different shape, they're much higher shape. Whereas the ancient pyramids, we happen to believe, are a lot older than what the Egyptians would like us to believe. We think they're probably much closer to maybe 10,000 years old, not 5,000 years old. And what makes a pyramid so special is because they're found on every continent on Earth. They're not just found in Egypt and Mexico, right, where most people tend to think, well, that's where pyramids are. But every continent on this planet has got pyramids on it. Even down Australia, there's some up north of Sydney, yep, yeah. Antarctica. And of course what we do have for our American people here is NASA. All right? And NASA, with their cameras that can read what's on the back of your watch, they're now finding all these square-shaped buildings all over the globe. And when they identify them, and the simplest way of identifying a pyramid is to see if they're aligned with what we call the cardinal points, which is directly, one wall directly facing magnetic north. And so they're finding them, and they're finding them by the hundreds everywhere. Found a big group recently in the Ukraine. The most important one they found recently was underwater in a beautiful clear lake in China, right? Now, and it's supposed to be bigger, they estimate, than the Great Pyramid of Giza or the ones they've found in Bosnia. So, with so many pyramids around, if they weren't built for tombs, then what were they built for? That's the big question, right? We happen to believe, like a lot of other people are now starting to approach it, and that is that they're built for energy. They drag energy from above, from below, and they literally channel energy. We're all energy. We're walking energy. The pyramids were something that would create energy, right? Now, one other thing that supports that theory is that all these ancient pyramids, and we're talking pyramids that are thousands of years old, are all built on what we call ley lines. That's L-E-Y lines. Now, a ley line is known to be an energy line. It can be 20 metres wide, it can be 200 kilometres wide, but they're all around the globe, right? And you type into Mr. Google and you'll find all your pages and pages and pages about ley lines. And ley lines have been found through scientific methods, through people with rods, with people with pendulums, all sorts of things. There's actually a very strong ley line that runs right through here, where we are now. Starts off down in New Zealand and Mount Cook, comes up through Uluru, very well-known rock in the middle of Australia, up through Uluwatu, a temple down on the coast here, up through Mount Agung, carries on through places like Angkor Wat, Nepal and so on, Persia, or Iran as it's known now, and intersects at the Great Pyramid of Giza. Right? So most of the major ley lines around the globe all intersect at the Pyramid of Giza, which has us wondering why, except the fact that this energy is being transmitted we believe, on these ley lines. Now, don't ask me why, we have no idea, all right? Other than the fact that they were built many thousands of years ago, and there's obviously a use for them when they were built. Now, one of the things that people cannot explain, and that is how a pyramid in South America, in China, in Egypt, even north of Sydney, have all been built using a construction method that's never been used since. They use these blocks, right, which in many cases are hundreds of tons, right, but they all interlock together, right? They're like a Rubik's Cube, and it's in 3D and a jigsaw, right? So no matter which way an earthquake might be pulling or shaking, whatever, pyramids don't fall down. They stay in place. The only way a pyramid will ever come down is if it's dismantled, right? So they stay in place because of this intricate way that they're interlocked together. Now, how can that happen? They didn't have internet thousands of years ago, but they did have the energy lines. So was that how they all communicated in all the different places around the world? We don't know. But it's a fascinating thing, and what we have established is these days that pyramids create their own power. They're a source of amazing power, right? Now, there's been many, many stories written about people. You look old enough to have heard the story about the razor blades in the pyramid, right? How they always keep sharp, right? Well, the fact is pyramids do have a special quality about them. And we've discovered that with the pyramids we've built here. The one you're going to be going in today, the Pyramid of the Sun, is actually 1/16 to scale with the Great Pyramid of Giza. The other one, the Pyramid of the Moon, is 1/18 to scale. Now already they've got energies down there. We had a case the other day where, I'm not saying anything against Americans, but we had this young guy here from the States the other day, ex-Marine, gung-ho, and he's flying one of these drones around taking aerial video. And we said, yeah, it's great, fantastic, go for it. But be careful about flying it between the pyramids, because we already know there's probably a very strong electromagnetic source of energy there, right? No, this is the latest, greatest, it'll be okay. Okay, so I'm watching him on his iPhone, and he's flying this thing around, and next thing you know, he comes down, beep, 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 and he loses signal. Fortunately, he had enough momentum on it to land on the grass on the other side, but already that energy's already there. And then about a month and a half ago, I had to go underneath the Pyramid of the Sun just to do a termite check. Excuse me. And whilst I was there, boy, it was so hot. It was like being in a sauna, incredibly hot. That doesn't make any sense. You know, we've got foundations this thick, we've got water all around us, and we've got a double-skin roof or wall over the top of everything. So there's no way the heat could penetrate down below the floor. So already the pyramid's pulling that energy up from the earth. So what we're saying is that you're going to experience some of that energy today. Another way you're going to experience energy is through these gongs. The sounds from these gongs are going to bounce off the walls of the pyramid. It's not what you hear, it's what you'll be feeling, right? They'll come back onto your body, and they go to work on what we call your chakra system. Now, does everybody know what the chakra system is? A little bit, maybe? Okay, the chakra system is the energy centres that we have in our body, from the base right through to the crown. The most well-known ones are like the heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, right? Now, what happens with these, chakra in the Sanskrit language, where it comes from, means wheel. And when people draw them, like the ancient Chinese or the Indians, they tend to show them as spinning wheels going up through the body here. So when we're playing these sounds, particularly the higher sounds, those sounds tend to work on our upper chakras, from the heart through to the crown. When we play the lower chakras, right? They're coming from your solar plexus down to your base. Now, what happens when these vibrations are bouncing onto your body, they're penetrating your body and they're working through your chakras. Now, our bodies are over 70% of water, right? Now, sound moves 4 times faster through water than it does through the air. So what tends to happen is these sounds are moving up and down your body, into your minor chakras, into your nervous system, even down to your living cells in your body. And what eventuates from that is it calms everything down. It rebalances, it harmonises. You can imagine like a spinning CD, and it starts like that, ends up like that, right? There's no spin at all, no wobble at all. So when that happens, this is where it gets interesting, you might have a reaction, all right? Now, the reaction could be you feel a bit nauseous, you could feel like crying, a lot of people cry in there, guys and girls. You could get very emotional, you could start laughing, your fingers and your toes might start twitching. Things do happen, right? Because it's just the way the sounds go to work on your chakra system and help you to start that relaxation process and the rebuilding, rebalancing that is necessary for some of us. Now, just be careful, because when it happens, breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't stop breathing, all right? Because some people get a little bit like, what's happening to me? I feel like crying. I don't cry, or I feel a bit nauseous. It's normal. It's totally normal. If it does happen, just keep breathing. It'll pass. It's nothing to worry about, right? And in fact, after that has happened, you say thank you, because you've received the gift of sound healing. Quite beautiful. Now, you may not receive a gift of sound healing. This guy here from Lauderdale might just go to sleep because he said, my God, this is so comfortable, nice big mattress, nice sound. And what happens to guys when they lay on their back and their feet? Exactly. So he might just start snoring, or one of these other guys might start snoring. Just know, fellas, if you do start snoring, then Tara's probably going to go around and just squeeze your big toe. So if you find yourself snoring, just roll onto your left side. That stops you making any noises, right? That's your heart side. She knows where I'm coming from in this one. Girls, don't think you're off the hook, all right? Because girls may not snore, but they resonate. And when they resonate, they make these funny noises like that, which for us fellows can be just as disturbing. Because what's she doing over there, So same thing, girls. If you find yourself starting to make some noises or someone tapping your toes, roll onto your left side and spare everybody else, okay? So, because in a pyramid, the sounds travel everywhere. No matter which way, where you are, the sounds are distributed, just like a dome. Now, so that pretty well covers what happens in the pyramids themselves, right? A lot of people ask us, well, how did you come to be building pyramids in Bali? Good question. It all happened rather interestingly. We were living in America, travelling around. My wife and I, like I said, we had a great place in Corona that we based ourselves out of, an RV park. And we were travelling right across the country. We had a nice big travel rig, and we're retired and enjoying it. Unfortunately, what happened is my wife had to have an operation on her eyes, and we had to come back to Australia for the operation to take place. Now, we had complications with that, so in waiting for the eyes to settle down, we came up to Bali. Now, while we're in Bali, I happened to do a meditation. Now, we're both very spiritual. I may not dress, act, talk like some of the more unique people in Ubud, but we are very spiritual people, right? And what actually happened here was that I got told to build 2 pyramids during this meditation. And I'm like, you serious? You want me to build pyramids? You know, I'm 65, I'm retired. Didn't work, we now have 2 pyramids out there. Right? But why I want to share the story with you is because this place was never conceived as a business enterprise. We did it because we got told to do it. And it's been the most fabulous journey that I've ever undertaken in my whole life. And the way it all transpired was, in the beginning, we thought, well, we've got to find some land if we're going to do this. We looked everywhere, we couldn't find any land in Ubud that we felt comfortable with. We looked at lots. And then we looked at some land across the road here. We didn't feel good about that, so I came for a wander over here. And the moment I walked on the land we're on right now, just about, it was probably over about there, I felt the goosies. You know, you feel that shiver going down your back. Lynn's behind me trying to walk between the rice fields like this, you know, and she had the same feeling. And we knew that this is where we were meant to be. So we got a signal, right? We asked the guy that was showing us around, is this available for leasing? No. You sure? I said, can you talk to the owner and find out? So he did. The next day he comes back and said, the owner wants to talk to you. So obviously we're able to lease it. Then we went back to Perth to try and raise some money, right? Because we realised this was going to cost $1.5 million at least to build. So we went back there and I was talking to a good friend of mine, Chris, and I said to Chris, I said, okay, I want to raise about $1 million from investors to build a couple of pyramids in Bali. He cracked up, just like that. He started laughing, reached for his glass of wine and said, Peter, haven't you heard of the global financial crisis? You know, yeah, okay, yeah, I have, okay. So anyway, he said, well, that sort of money's just not available for those sort of ideas, causes, whatever you might want to call it. So we went off, and Lynn and I both do what we called alternate writing, or otherwise known as left-hand writing, or channeled writing. And so we asked the question, okay, Spirit, you want us to build these pyramids, where do we get the money? And we both got the same message, different rooms, both got the same message. There are people out there waiting to give you the money. Wow, that's amazing. And so the next question very quickly was, where are they? How do we find them? Right? Don't spend much money was the cryptic answer. I had 45 years in marketing. I know that to raise $1 million, you've got to spend a bit of money to attract the right investment and all the rest of it. So I'm thinking, how do I raise this sort of money? So we put an ad on what's known in Australia as Gumtree, right? It's a free website. Craigslist in America, right? And the end result of that was, the shortened version is over 3 weeks we raised $750,000 from 3 different lots of people that we didn't know, we'd never met before, they didn't know each other, and not one of them wanted to look at my business plan. So they weren't investing in a business. They were investing in Peter and Lynn, they were invested in our vision, or they were just in love with Bali, or probably more likely, they were getting guided themselves. So when that happened to us, it just made us realise that the path we're on is a very special one. And, you know, so different from me, because, you know, coming out of corporate and marketing and that, all of a sudden I'm being really challenged here, you know, and this money's just coming like, you don't want to read my business plan? No, we're comfortable. We believe you. And we had one single lady with some children and 2 other couples. None of them were really wealthy, but they all invested $250,000 each, and they've been up here many times and looked at what we're doing. They're so excited for us, and they've been very patient because it's taken 3 years of building to get where we are now. So those sort of things just make us realise that our reason for being here is to help people like yourselves. Help people get sound healing, maybe just a good dose of relaxation, maybe go to sleep, who knows what, all right? But what we want to do here is we want to give you a special experience, right? Now I'm just going to tell you one quick story of a guy we had here just over a week ago, a German fella. Anybody from Germany here? No? Okay. You've lived in Germany, that's near enough. Okay. This is a really big guy, bigger than him, right? And he's about 6 foot 6'5", what's that, a 200 plus centimetres, whatever it is these days. And he's sitting right where you're sitting, right? And his wife's sitting next to him, and she's a real bubbly little character. She's all excited, you know, can't wait to get to the pyramids. He's there like this, staring at me, staring through his eyebrows, you know. He didn't want to be here, right? The body language was so evident, you know. I'm here because she dragged me here, you know. So anyway, off we went. We went down to the pyramids. I did the session in there and came back up here. And I happened to be on the other side of the cafe, and I see him marching towards me like this, you know. I'm sort of going like that, you know, thinking, uh-oh, you know, what's wrong, what's wrong? Just to interrupt that story for 1 second, I'm known as a guy that does heart-to-heart hugs up here. Some of you may have seen me greeting these two guys here, you know, so I call everybody guys. I believe in connecting with people, I really do. I think there's too much of this, how are you type thing. I like to connect with people, and that's part of what I do. He comes up and he gives me a heart-to-heart hug. Germans don't hug, all right? They really don't. They're a very conservative race. They just don't do a lot of hugging, or most Germans don't. I'm sure there are exceptions. Anyway, and I'm looking at this guy, and he's got tears pouring down his cheeks. He is crying. Takes his hands, holds me over the shoulders, and he's shaking like this. He's actually shaking. And he said, Peter, Peter. I said, yeah. He said, I did not believe. I did not want to be here. You know, and the flippant side of me sort of wants to say, yeah, I could see that earlier on, you know, but he's obviously very emotional. So I said, yeah, okay, do you want to share with me why you've changed? And he said, I went into your pyramids. They call them pyramids over there. He calls them pyramids, right? I lay down on your mattress. Very good mattress. Nice and comfortable. And now they're 2 metres long, so they can handle someone this guy's size and not have your feet hanging over the end, you know. So he said, I lay down on your mattress, and he said, I listened to you play gongs. He said, and then someone